The family trip was supposed to be a delightful break for Elaina and her kids, a much-needed getaway without her husband, who couldn't take time off from his new job. However, during a quiet evening in the hotel, Elena's phone pinged with a notification from their doorbell camera back home. The live feed displayed something that she never expected to see. As she watched, her face drained of color and her hands started shaking as she dialed 911 to call for help. But before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. "Mommy, what is it? Can't we say hi to Daddy?" her daughter Maya asked. The kids recognized the doorbell notification sound by now, and they were always excited to say hello whenever they knew someone was at the door. But this time, something was different. They saw it on their mother's face. Elaina did not reply for a few seconds, and she stared at the screen in silence, her eyes wide and her hands shaking. "Mommy, can I see?" Maya asked again, and at that moment, Elaina finally snapped back to reality. "No, honey, it's just the delivery man. I think he's at the wrong address. I need to make a call, okay?" Maya and her older brother Jonas nodded, satisfied with this answer, and they turned their attention back to the TV again. They didn't see their mother's eyes fill with tears as she slipped into the bathroom and locked the door behind her. "I'm sure it's nothing. It's fine. Everything is fine," she whispered to herself as she took her phone to look at the footage again. She turned on the sound and heard that the man was saying, "Please, I need help. It's an emergency. You have to help me, please." He sounded very upset and afraid, but it was all an act. This man was dangerous. Elaina replayed the video one more time, and there was no doubt about it. The man was holding a gun. His call for help was obviously just a scheme to lure innocent people out of their home. Immediately, she dialed her husband's number. She could only hope that he had not opened the door for that man. She listened to the beeping sound for a few moments, and when nobody picked up, she tried calling him again. This time, again, no answer. Elaina was getting really stressed out now, and she could barely hold back the tears. "Oh no! Sam, no!" she exclaimed as she opened the doorbell app on her phone again. She saw that there was a new recording which had been saved after the video she had just watched. With trembling hands, she clicked on it, terrified of what she might see on there. That stranger's face appeared on her screen again, asking for help and sounding very believable at doing so. She didn't want to watch what would happen next, but she knew she had to. For a moment, it remained silent. She felt a shimmer of hope at the thought that perhaps Sam had not been at home or he simply had not opened the door. But this hope was shattered a few seconds later. She heard the door open and Sam's voice said, "Sir, are you all right? Do you need help?" And then the stranger smashed the doorbell camera and everything turned black. In the last second, she only heard a scream, and she could only assume it was Sam's. At this moment, Maya knocked on the door and asked, "Mommy, are you okay? I'm hungry." Elaina took a deep breath and wiped her tears, dialing 911 on her phone. "Honey, I'll be right there. Just wait a couple of minutes," she said through the door while she paced back and forth in the bathroom, waiting for someone to pick up. Her husband was in trouble, and she was an entire plane flight away from him. She felt helpless, but she knew she had to do something. 911! "What's your emergency?" a voice said through the phone, and Elaina burst out in tears. She could not even form a complete sentence and only managed to say, "My husband, doorbell, he had a gun." Of course, this was useless to the dispatcher. Luckily, the man managed to calm her down, and Elaina was finally able to tell him what had happened. She gave him their home address, and the dispatcher said that they were going to send a team of officers to their house right away. "Please, hurry! He could be hurt! Please, you have to help him!" Elaina cried into the phone again. Again, she heard a soft knock on the door, and Jason's voice asking, "Mom, are you crying?" She wiped away her tears and finally opened the door, facing her children. "Well, have you spoken to the delivery man?" Maya asked. "Was he angry?" Elaina looked into her eyes and smiled, and she answered, "Yes, but everything will be okay." She was actually trying to console herself by saying this, but it did not work. Elaina could not stop staring at her phone, waiting for an update. And the image of that horrible man at their door would just not disappear from her mind. She kept telling herself, "Stay calm, he will be all right." It will be okay, but she didn't believe a word of it. She waited and waited for the phone to ring, hoping to hear some good news. In the dim glow of twilight, the police cars pulled up to Elaina's house. The front door stood ajar, ominous in its neglect. Inside, they found signs of a struggle furniture, overturned, shattered glass, and scattered belongings. The house, once a sanctuary, now bore the scars of an unsettling intrusion. Elaina sat in the hotel room, her heart pounding. Her calls to Sam had gone unanswered, and the silence gnawed at her. The police combed through her home for clues while she struggled to contain the anxiety that consumed her thoughts. Inside the house, the silence was haunting. The once familiar rooms felt cold and distorted. As police gathered more evidence, confusion deepened. There were no signs of Sam or the intruder. The chaos suggested a fierce confrontation, but the outcome remained hidden. With trembling hands, Elaina began calling neighbors. She pleaded for any detail that could help. One mentioned a vehicle parked near the house days earlier, something they had dismissed at the time. It was a small piece of information, but it ignited a flicker of hope. The mention of the suspicious vehicle prompted a new wave of investigation. Police began tracking down its registration, looking for any link to Sam's disappearance. At the police station, officers examined security footage from Elaina's home. The chilling discovery revealed that the intruder had been watching the house for days. His movements, though subtle, showed clear intent. The calculated nature of his actions alarmed everyone involved. Digging deeper, investigators sought any connections that might explain the intruder's motives. They searched records, conducted interviews, and analyzed every trace left behind. But the more they uncovered, the more questions they faced. The true nature of the threat remained elusive. Elaina's resolve never wavered. Each tick of the clock reminded her that time was slipping away. Her family's fate hung in the balance, and she couldn't rest until the truth came to light. With fear in her heart but resolve in her soul, she booked a flight home. She needed to be close to the investigation and protect her children. The airport buzzed with travelers, but for Elaina, time dragged painfully. Each second felt stretched as thoughts of Sam and her children overwhelmed her. When the plane landed, the familiar sights of the airport only heightened her sense of dread. The reality of the situation weighed on her. She was about to step into the heart of the crisis, where answers were few and danger loomed. A glimmer of hope emerged when a local pawn shop owner recognized the intruder from the security footage aired by the media. He provided the police with a name and crucial information. The man had recently inquired about purchasing a firearm, suggesting malicious intent. With this tip, the investigation surged forward. The police began piecing together the intruder's background. Elaina, sensing movement in the case, felt her hope rekindle. Each connection they made pointed them closer to Sam. But with progress came disturbing revelations. The intruder had a troubled past and a dangerous history. The motive soon came into focus: revenge. The intruder harbored a long-standing grudge against Sam. What Elaina feared was confirmed: her family was in far greater danger than she'd imagined. This was personal. Digging deeper, the police uncovered a tangled web of betrayal. The intruder, a former business associate of Sam's, had been driven by a toxic mix of resentment and vengeance. Elaina struggled to come to terms with the truth her husband's past had returned with dire consequences. Upon her arrival, Elaina was shown the intruder's photo. Her reaction was immediate and visceral recognition and disbelief. The shadowy figure from the footage now had a name and a face. Determined and focused, she joined police efforts to identify potential hideouts. As the hours passed, guilt crept in. She blamed herself for not recognizing the danger sooner for not being there. But that guilt only intensified her resolve to make things right. As night fell, the search became more difficult. Darkness obscured their path, but Elaina didn't falter. Every minute was critical. The urgency of their mission fueled her persistence. Back at the house, Elena's children, Maya and Jonas, recalled a strange phone call from days before their Tripa man had asked about their father. At the time, they hadn't thought much of it, but now the memory sent shivers down Elena's spine. It could be the clue they needed. The police saw potential in the children's account. Every detail mattered. Interviews were conducted to glean more from their memory. Elena's dread deepened, realizing the threat had been lurking long before anyone knew. With both leads in hand, the police devised a sting operation. It was risky but necessary. The operation was executed with precision. Officers moved carefully, knowing one mistake could endanger Sam. Elaina could only wait, her heart pounding with fear and anticipation. Then, a break through the intruder was captured. Relief surged through Elaina. Tears of fear and joy mixed as she realized they were one step closer to finding Sam. But the work wasn't done yet. With the intruder in custody, interrogation began immediately. Elena's anxiety soared. She waited, desperate to hear where Sam was being held. During questioning, the man revealed that Sam had left subtle clues during his captivity-clever breadcrumbs designed to aid in his rescue. Elaina was filled with admiration for her husband's courage and presence of mind. Using these clues, the police launched a high-stakes rescue. The mission was dangerous, but the goal was clear. Elena's emotions swirled between hope and terror. Then came the moment they had longed for. Sam was found, injured but alive. The clues he left had worked. Elaina felt the weight of fear lift as they prepared for a long-awaited reunion. Elaina and the children rushed to the hospital. The moment they saw Sam, tears flowed freely. The embrace was filled with relief, gratitude, and a deep sense of survival. Their family, though shaken, was whole again. In the aftermath, they confronted the truth the intruder's motive had stemmed from an old business dispute with Sam. It was a chilling revelation, but one that brought closure. The unanswered questions had finally been resolved. In the days that followed, the family began to heal. The trauma had left its mark, but their love remained unshaken. They leaned on each other, strengthened by the ordeal. Each passing day became a step forward. The storm had passed, but its memory lingered as a reminder of their resilience. With the truth behind them and their family intact, they looked ahead with cautious optimism. The bond that had carried them through the darkest times became the foundation of their recovery. They moved forward, not forgetting the past, but no longer bound by it. United and determined, they began building a future filled with love, strength, and the unwavering belief that they could weather any storm together.